Hey, it's Kevin. Welcome back to the Road Warrior videos. Now, this isn't about driving per se, but as I've said before, we touch on driving all the time on the Road Warrior videos. It's just kind of an occupational hazard, if you will. But one thing I've noticed in recent years is the lack of people's ability to stay in their lanes. And I don't mean changing lanes, I mean staying in the space that is the lane. You usually got a solid white line or yellow line on one side of the lane, and sometimes if you're on a separated highway, a dashed line down the middle, but you've got lines kind of guiding where you should be in the lane. Now, it's one thing, some people ride certain lines. I'm guilty of it, you're guilty of it, we're all guilty of it. But usually when a car comes upon us, if we're riding in the left-hand lane and they're coming up on the right, we kind of stay towards the left. If we're in the right-hand lane and somebody comes up on the left, we kind of stay towards the right. But I've noticed recently, and it's not because people are texting, it's not because people aren't paying attention, I've sat there and watched this happen with people with two hands on the wheel, not changing lanes, but when I come passing them, they get dangerously close to me. It's almost like we're a NASCAR racer and we're kind of getting up close to the edge there. And I kind of wonder, how hard is it to stay in your lane? Now, growing up, again, I've been driving, I hate to say this, 40 plus years now, and so I think I know how to drive. I realize not everybody on the road has been driving as long as me. Some people are driving cars they're not comfortable with. I've driven big cars, little cars, it doesn't matter. I've learned how to adapt to each in particular car. I prefer smaller cars, but can drive big ones if I have to. It kind of comes with the territory. But it's interesting to see how people just haven't figured all this out yet. Or I don't even think it's a matter of they haven't figured it out. I think they've chosen not to figure it out. This is more about people's lack of desire to do the right thing and just think that they're the only ones on the road. I know it's one of those pet peeves that drives me crazy, and I know I'm not alone, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why it's so difficult for people. I remember there are some roads, growing up and having lived in so many cities, there are certain roads, that have narrower lanes. When I lived in Charlotte, Independence Boulevard back in the day was narrow. Man, I'll be honest with you, it was a little harrowing, especially when I had to drive the radio station truck or vehicle or something like that. You felt like the truck or the Winnebago was holding up the whole lane, and in a way it was. Here in Nashville, Interstate 24 that goes, from does it go east to west? Actually, northeast to southeast kind of thing is the way it goes. It's narrower than the other two interstates, 65 and 40 here in Nashville. It's an older interstate, so for some reason the lanes are just low, and it could be inches. It's not that I've sat down and measured, but I know when you're driving down Interstate 24, the lanes are a little bit narrower and people are going to be closer to you. It's kind of those things I pay attention to, and at the same time, drive me crazy when people aren't paying attention. And then you throw in cell phones, smartphones, and people trying to, do their makeup, smoke cigarettes, not pay attention to the road, and it gets even worse. Another Road Warrior back next week, kevinmason.us for all the Road Warrior videos. We have them on YouTube, have them on Facebook. Love the fact that you're here. Love for you to come on back again next week and tell a friend. Thanks, we'll see you. Stay in your lane.